MEF 17, Perception Part 2. To hide the information most effectively, it's best to find a way to make sure that the particular frequency we want to hide isn't ever activated in the perception biofields of the minds we wish to trick. Dad knew, for example, that he only had a short window of time in our lives when this trick would work on us. Once we figured it out and activated that thought in our perception biofield, making the wine cork disappear with magic wouldn't be funny anymore. To begin planning our trick, we must first find where the information sits naturally within the range of human mind energy. The information is going to be a certain frequency of life energy, a certain meaning. In the digital photo analogy, a single frequency is represented by a pixel. Once we find the general frequency of the information we want to hide, the wine cork, we need then to move to convince the minds we intend to trick that this particular frequency just isn't available. How do we do this? First, we can check the information through the levels of perception clarity created with the mind energy of each of the chakras. By doing this, we can then make informed decisions about the techniques we'll use for the trick so that it works for all the potential minds in the population of the group we're working with. Looking at the bunnies using the perception clarity through the first 3 MEF floors, we find that you can't even tell they're bunnies, much less determine the colour of the eyes. When a mind perceives the information of the world through these 3 chakras, the hidden wine cork information is safe. There are lots of thoughts, individual frequencies in the first 3 frequency ranges of life energy that will lower the clarity of a mind's perception to these indistinct levels. By just encouraging these thoughts, we can ensure that even the question, "What colour are the bunny's eyes?" will never sensibly come up. The 4th floor rate of perception is a little clearer. Through this chakra, we've climbed up to about 8 pixels per inch. With the 4th chakra in core position, a mind may be able to indeed recognize the bunnies and perhaps even guess that their eyes are black. We can't have that if our trick is to work. To keep our wine cork trick information safe, this is where we may well need to block certain frequencies from ever being used at all. That's pretty easy to do in the short term. You just tell people not to think it, and then don't use it yourself as an open example for a while. In time, the blockage of the frequency will become a social rule in the group, and the trick will look after itself. Mind energy of this 4th floor is much harder to trick so easily because it's already activated a great deal of its potential perception life energy dynamics. It may be sensible to somehow make friends with those minds who will perceive through the 4th floor easily. If we tell them that the whole point of things is just to see the bunnies, then they may well stop making any further new thoughts to make their perception even clearer right there, and instead just help others to see the indistinct bunnies too. Mind energy created through the 5th chakra is filled with experience, lots of tiny life energy dynamics in the biofield, creating a perception clarity level of about 16 pixels per inch. From here, the individual mind has truly grown through all of the tricks we've left for them on the lower floors. The chances are that these minds can see the bunnies quite well enough to be sure that their eyes are black. To control the minds regularly operating from this intellectual floor, and indeed the sixth floor, it may simply be best to just keep their attention away from the bunny's eyes altogether. To do this, we simply make some thoughts, say those life energy dynamics in the lilacs, more attractive, and make the frequencies close to the eyes more and more undesirable. By making the thoughts revealing the lilacs preferred by the group, and the thoughts close to the bunny's eyes frowned upon, the individual minds can all be influenced well enough to at least slow down their acquisition of new perception life energy dynamics. Influencing the thoughts and decisions of minds with perception energy operating through the last biological chakra isn't really technically possible. That is, unless we can find a way to influence an individual's whole lifetime of experience. Let's stop there and just keep those ideas on the drawing board. We're just talking about a hypothetical party trick here. As we can see, technically influencing general human perception isn't that difficult when you have lots of time. If you set it up properly from the beginning, the hide the wine cork trick can look after itself for a while. The problems with our trick plans will surface after time, when the small number of minds that we didn't truly ever trick from the beginning, but who sat politely and listened to us like good audience members watching our trick, begin to share their experience, life energy dynamics, thoughts, with the general population of the group, and in doing so, activate new life energy dynamics in everyone's perception biofields. If humour was indeed the whole purpose of the initial hide the wine cork trick, just before now is the right time to stop and take a bow, because once this activation of perception energy happens, our special wine cork information, represented by the colour of the bunny's eyes, will become obvious to everyone, and indeed no longer funny. From here, our simple mind energy trick will fall over, just as Dad's hide the wine cork game stopped working after only a few short days. It then won't take long before everyone will realise that the information about the colour of the bunny's eyes is in truth obvious when you look, and such information on its own really isn't that important anyway. It's how you use it that gives information any power. Understanding which life energy dynamics, which thoughts currently operate most easily in our own perception biofield, can help us to learn the difference in the various levels of perception available with our human life energy. Understanding which life energy dynamics, which thoughts, currently operate most easily in our own perception biofield can help us to learn the difference in the various levels of perception available with our human life energy.